Hi, Charles Malky, biologist and plant expert with Ivory Organics, and today we're planting a fruit tree with Doc,
Kevin,
Tom.
and Tom Spellman. We got Tom Spellman from Dave Wilson Nursery, one of the leading educators of Dave Wilson Nursery, which is the leading distributor of deciduous fruit trees in the country. Kevin Espiritu, the leading garden channel in the world, and
Jacques in the garden. I have my own channel as well.
so be sure to check all of those links, which I'll put in the video description below. And today I've got a series of questions, which I always get from you, the audience. And together we're going to be planting a fruit tree, starting with Tom Spellman. Let's get started.
Let's do it.
So first common question I get is in regards to fruit trees. I live in an area with limited real estate, and I've got these flavors of fruits that I want to plant. And do I necessarily need to put one fruit tree per planting hole, or is it a possibility to actually have two flavors in a single hole?
Well, absolutely, you can multiple plant. You could put 2 or 3 or 4 together. Pomegranates actually work out quite well for multiple planting. They'll just grow into each other, and you're going to get one single big multi-trunk shrub out of it. But you're going to get, one side's going to be the Eversweet variety, the other side's going to be the Parfionca variety, and you're going to be able to harvest 2 different types of fruit off of that one cluster.
Excellent. So again, these are the 2 varieties of pomegranates we're going to be putting in the hole here today. The Eversweet and Parfionca, compared to wonderful varieties, are unique in which ways?
Well, Parfionca is one of those varieties that came out of Gariella Research Station in Turkmenistan. Dr. Levin, the curator of that collection, out of 1,100 varieties, claimed that Parfionca was his favorite variety in the world.
Wow.
So, from somebody that was an expert for 50 years on this, pretty much strictly the subject of pomegranate, I've tried a lot of varieties, and you know what? I think Levin was right. I love Parfionca. And Eversweet is a lighter colored, non-staining, sweet flavor. Both of them actually sweet flavor. Both of them, the very important characteristic is they're soft seeded. So the seed itself is almost non-detectable when you eat them.
That's great.
Yeah, it sounds amazing.
So these are 2 pomegranate trees we're going to put here in the planting hole. And Kevin, if you want to share with the audience in regards to the planting depth, I'm going to try to pull this out for you here.
Yeah, let's take a
and
look.
You can see these beautiful root development. These are Dave Wilson Nursery fruit trees. And I'm going to have you position it and give some advice in regards to planting depth.
Yeah, so a pomegranate's not a grafted fruit tree, so you don't really have to worry about burying the graft or anything like that. But it seems like, I'm just going to go by intuition here and plant it roughly at the depth that it's currently at. It seems like a good spot. You got a lot of branching early on here, so just about a ½ inch below that. Try to match it to about there. So what do you think, Tom?
I think that's perfect.
Great.
Same thing right here. Let's fill.
We're a little low, so we'll just backfill in.
Yeah, we don't want to go below grade on that crown, but we want to be pretty close to the surface. Or we can even be just slightly raised.
Yeah.
So
And would you mess with the roots at all? Or
no,
do you
the
just
root
always go
system's
straight in?
perfect on these. They're 1 year, fully developed plants. There's no reason to, scarify or do anything to the root system. They're going to pop right out and just grow.
All right, so I'm just gonna kind of pop this down in here, match it to level, and then pretty much that's it.
So we can see now the tree's at the same level as the ground level. The tree level's at the same as it was in the container as it is now in your ground. Jacques, a question I get often from gardeners is, I've got this amend, and a lot of people want to go and amend the backfill. What's your advice on amending the soil?
It does sound like a very compelling thing to do. You want to add some fertility, but something like that, it's an organic material, so it's going to break down in the soil, and that can actually lead to settling of your fruit trees and actually cause more problems in the long run. So I think Tom actually has a preferred way of adding amendments, which is actually, I believe, putting it on the surface, right?
Yeah, put it on the surface, put it in the top few inches.
I'm noticing you're doing a little compaction.
You can see that initial root ball outline from the pomegranate, so we
Yeah,
could
so
we
right
could
here.
safely go around and put some
So at this
amendment
point,
in there now as we got it compacted in a little bit.
we can begin
Sure.
amending.
Sure.
Here we go.
And we're not trying to bury the stems too much, so we'll spread
No.
it out a bit, yeah.
Right. We just want a little light application, around the plant itself.
All right, so we're in the ground. I think the cool thing to me about the pomegranates is they're not grafted. You can plant them super close. They grow shrub type for the most part, although
Yes.
you could make them a tree. So planting them this close together is like almost a non-issue completely.
No, they're fine.
Yeah.
They're going to be just fine.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't matter that the root systems are going to grow into each other. They're going to pleach underground. They're going to become one living unit as time goes on. But you'll have a distinct, you know, Parthionka this half, Eversweet that half.
Yeah. Awesome.
So, you know, two different selections of pomegranate varieties from one planting location.
So we've got a pile of wood chips here. What are the benefits, or just name some of the benefits of mulching around your trees?
Well, first of all, this is exactly what I'm looking for in a mulch. It's biodiverse. You've got several different types of wood product in here. It's not all one product. So you want that biodiversity. Softwoods, hardwoods, small chunks, big chunks. It's going to break down at different times and different levels. So the four main attributes of a good mulching program are keeping your soil temperature 10 to 15 degrees cooler than unmulched soil, making better use of your irrigation water by 50%, proven fact, bringing back the biodynamics as that wood material starts to break down and decompose, and eliminating about 80 to 90% of your weed seed germination.
That's hard to beat. Hard to beat that.
Yep.
So Ivory Organics has an all-purpose fertilizer which offers your plants all 6 plant macronutrients. Not just the NPK you'll find in most fertilizers, but it also includes the magnesium, sulfur, and calcium for optimal plant health. Kevin, what's your recommendation when it comes to feeding your fruit trees once you're planting them?
You know, when I planted out my orchard in the front yard, I actually didn't do anything at all besides what you've just seen us do right here. Although I guess, I'm curious your take, Tom, I might put a little fert layer underneath the mulch and then apply the mulch, and that's probably the most I would do.
Well, the nice thing about this fertilizer, 333.
Yeah.
So it's not hot. It's not going to burn. It's a OMRI registered organic. It is containing all of the micronutrients.
Yeah.
So this is a great all-purpose starter fertilizer. So I would have no problem, since these pomegranates were in an established root column already and not just planted as a bare root tree, I would have no problem using this as a top dress and irrigate in fertilizer on a young planting.
Got it. So we could even sprinkle over the top of
Yep,
this.
absolutely.
So let's do it.
Scratch it into the mulch a little bit, irrigate it in.
So Jacques, how much fertilizer do you think we should apply?
So at the beginning, especially since they're just establishing right now, you don't want to go with the full dose. And so now I'm just going to add a little sprinkle to the top essentially. And really the best time to do this is around May, before you get your full sunlight hours. And that gives us time to break down and the tree the chance to use those full sunlight hours to use the fertilizer.
That's great.
Simple.
So now that we've fertilized, we'll just put the wood chips back in place
Now grab the hose.
and let's water.
So when you just plant a fruit tree, how often do you want to actually water it?
Well, at initial planting time, right now, you want to make sure you're really, really saturated.
Okay.
You want to get all the air pockets out of that soil. You want to let it settle a little bit. You want to make sure that that root ball is totally 100% saturated with that.
Gotcha.
So what I would recommend is, for the first 2 or 3 days, irrigate it several times to
Okay.
really soak it in. Or take that rain nozzle and put it on just a little bit over a drip and let it sit there for an hour or so. Yeah, just like that. Let it sit there, let it really soak in. As long as there's no runoff, then you know all that water's going down, percolating down into the hole where you need it.
And the mulch actually helps contain it
The
right where we
mulch is
put
going
it.
to help contain it, and you know that if you let them stay too dry in that initial planting time, they have a real hard time coming out of dormancy. But now you're giving it all the benefits that it needs to really get a good push in.
Right.
So the first few irrigations most important on a young plant.
Yeah.
Any other steps, Tom, before we conclude?
Well, I think the last thing we want to do to finish up the day here is we want to get some whitewash on these. They're young greenhouse plants. They are just coming out for their first season, and we don't want to burn them now. So we're just going to whitewash that whole structure. You're going to whitewash the stake, the plants, everything,
Okay.
just to make sure that you've got a good, thorough coverage on there. And that's going to give them that first season with no summer sun stress.
So just like that?
Just like that.
So Kevin is painting right now with the Ivory Organic 3-in-1 Plant Guard color white, and white naturally reflects the most amount of light and is OMRI certified as well for commercial orchard application as well as backyard organic growers. And Jacques is using another color, which is color Greige, one of my personal favorites. There's also brown and green and gray and other colors that are available. Tom, out of curiosity, any difference between the colors?
Well, I like the natural colors. I like the beiges and the grays. They match right into what a natural tree trunk color would look like. So you know, if you like white is great. If you want them to look a little more natural, then the colors. The most important consideration is that your whitewash product is a light, neutral color, so that it's not attracting sun but reflecting sun.
Wonderful.
I have to say, this smells really good too.
Yeah, it really does. A little cinnamon maybe. Very nice.
So there's actually 6 natural oils in the product, which include castor, cinnamon, clove, garlic, peppermint, rosemary, and spearmint. A lot of people do say it smells like an Italian kitchen with the oils, but all of these oils are natural insect and rodent repellent oils, and hence the reason that we patented the product, encapsulating these oils and offering the protection for many months and up to a year of protection with a single application.
Sure.
Cool.
So, you know, I think for young trees or for older trees, if you were having an issue with, say, shot hole borers on an older apple tree or a peach tree, an application of this, it's gonna prevent against any further infestation.
That's great. And just a quick point to the viewers that the Ivory Organic dries on porous compared to latex paint, and also whatever application you do is going to eventually grow off the plant as it grows, potentially contaminating soil if you're using the latex and tar-based product over using something that's OMRI certified such as Ivory Organic. Well, thank you so very much. Tree care expert, Tom Spellman, Kevin Espiritu, The Epic Garden, and Doc.
And I learned a lot today.
We all did.
It's been a great day.
Yeah, it has.
As always, keep growing with Ivory Organics and wishing you all happy gardening.
Ivory Organics.